women that serve our country and protect us. We thank you. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, and as of today, we are X, formerly known as Twitter. Thanks for making us part of your day. We appreciate it. Special guest in the house today, former host, employee at the Cheesecake Factory, now as a digital creator at a top five New York company out there, inspiring author, writer. It's been a while since we've spoken until last week, but I reached out to her. She does great work, great things. I needed her on this program. And here she is, Emily Hernandez. How are you? Welcome to the program today.
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. How are you?
Doing well on this maybe snowy day, right? Veterans
Yeah,
snowy day, flurries
this
in New
weird,
York,
windy, snowy, freezing day.
for
Absolutely.
sure, for sure. Born and raised in the South Bronx, right? As
Yep.
an outsider looking in, you think graffiti, birth of hip hop, Yankee Stadium, noise, trains, hustle, bustle, sirens. But for you, you call this place home. Tell us about growing up in that environment, what it was like for you.
Yeah. It was interesting. You hear a lot of negativity a lot of the time when it comes to the Bronx, specifically the South Bronx where I'm
Right.
from, which I mean, partially true, but also really rich in culture and music and all the good stuff the way that you said.
Yeah.
Um Some people like to say I'm a little sheltered compared to most being from the South Bronx. My parents really kept my brother and I don't want to say safe, but I guess sheltered is the right word. Um, yeah, we weren't really out here in the streets the way that some people were, I guess, but we definitely were out there. We had our schools, we had our after school programs, so we got little tastes of things here and there. It was an ordinary upbringing here. You hear the scary stuff, but that's inevitable wherever you go, I feel
Yeah.
like. So it's like you got to take the good with the bad, and of course it still has its ups and downs, but it's thriving even now, and there's so much good coming to the South Bronx. There's so many people that are becoming famous, known, coming out of the South Bronx and bringing more awareness to it and whatnot. So it's great. I have nothing but fond memories here with my family, my friends, etc. So yeah.
Yeah. What do you remember most about growing up there as a kid?
um Well, I think school and after school, just because obviously you spend so much time there, but also
Right.
you got to encounter so many different people. My brother and I went to Catholic school growing up all of our lives until high school. And
Wow.
then after, we would go to this public after school. So you kind of got the best of both worlds, being with the private school kids and then the public
Right.
school kids. And there was always this weird division growing up with things
Yeah.
like that. Like, oh, they
Yeah.
would see us in our uniforms and be like, oh, you guys must be really rich or whatever. And then you go to after school and you see the other side. But, we were all just kids at the end of the day, just growing
Right.
up and interacting with each other, learning different things, arts and crafts, learning about each other's days, whatever the case is. And
Right.
I have nothing but fond memories, honestly. It's
Yeah.
just like, yeah, I never really saw the bad the way that some people do, and that's a blessing, I guess. But,
Right.
it is there, and you hear the stories and you see the news reports and all that, which is obviously terrible. But I'll rep the South Bronx forever, and I'll always come back here. And even now, like I walk around to some of the places like my old high school or the old
Yeah.
after school program, and I'm like, I grew up here, and one day
Yeah.
if I make it, I'd love to come back and bring more awareness to it too, because it built me up as a person, so who knows what it can do for the next person.
For sure. Mom and dad, how are your parents? Who was more strict back in the day
Oh dear
versus
God.
today?
um they're great. They're
Okay.
thriving. Their job is done, but a parent's job is never really done.
Right.
So my brother and I'm 30, my brother's 34. So we're adults. We're done, but we're still
Yeah.
their babies. As far as strictness, they were both strict in their individual ways. I mean, they can go back and forth with each other. No, I'm more strict. No, you're more strict,
Yeah.
whatever. But I think they tag teamed really well, and whatever, like, let's just say my dad was really good with the school stuff. My mom was really good at keeping, you know, um, the after school programs or like the household stuff, like you got to clean this, you got to do this, the cooking obviously, which sounds really like, gender norms, but at the
Right.
same time, it's also just like what we knew growing up. And yeah, we got the best of both worlds, honestly. So it was good. We went to Catholic school and they were strict with schoolwork and by the book and bedtimes and
Yeah.
routines and all of the good stuff that you don't really think about when you're younger and they annoy you and piss you off and
Yeah.
whatever. But you learn to appreciate it when you're older. And obviously, you outgrow certain things, but you always kind of take up some of those things with you as you grow up. So, yeah, that's just kind of where we're at right now. And they're
Yeah.
still strict, I
And
might
they're
add,
still
no
strict to this
matter
day.
what.
Nothing's really
No matter
changed.
what. Yeah, no. Yeah. So,
Who's the better cook, mom or dad? Who's the better cook?
oh, I see her in the chat. Hi, mom.
So you,
Mom.
you have to say you can't go left or right. You have to go one way.
y- Mom. Mom, if I'm being completely honest, my mom is the better cook. He tries, my dad, but
Right.
it's really my mom.
Okay.
So, you
All
know.
right. You know, they're still in your life to this day, mom and dad.
Yeah.
Um,
hmm
were they your role models growing up? Did you have other role models besides mom and dad growing up, or that
Um,
was it for them?
One thing about me, and this isn't to be taken hopefully negatively, it's just I never really looked up to anybody that like
Okay.
as far as famous people, celebrities, the way that some people do. I
Right.
admire certain people for different things, but I was never really one of those people that was like, "Oh my God, that
Yeah.
person is
Yeah.
my idol. I want to be just like." No, that was never really me. As far as my parents, again, obviously they taught me a lot. And again, they piss you off, they annoy you, and they
Yeah.
drive you up the wall, but also vice versa. And
Yeah.
you learn a lot from them, from their upbringing, and you realize that this is their first time doing life with you.
Yeah.
And so you take the good and the bad. We're all just here learning. And so there's a lot I admire about them. Were they went through a lot from their childhoods too, obviously.
Yeah.
My mom is one of five. My dad is one of five or six as
Okay.
well. So, a lot of history and culture coming from that too. They're both Puerto Rican. My dad came straight from Puerto Rico. My mom was born and raised in the Bronx too, actually, not far from where we're at now. So, you know, I admired the struggles that they went through, the stuff that they managed to come out of
Right.
better, the life that they managed to give not only themselves but me. And I can only hope to do just as much, if not better, um, not just for myself, but my potential future family as well. So,
Shout out to your parents, by the way, mom and dad. You guys
yeah,
listening? Shout out to you guys.
yeah,
One
definitely.
one older brother, right? You guys are 4 years apart.
Yeah.
Who got away with more stuff in the house growing up? You or him?
Oh boy. Me, me. Um, but you know what? It was just one of those things that I was always like this. They can attest to this. They can attest to it now.
Yeah.
I was always the one to push the limits, and
Okay.
not like in a terrible way, like rebellious way. I mean, it was rebellious, but like the bare minimum, like staying up past my bedtime or like, texting friends after a certain hour, or boys or whatever the case was, and like
Right.
that was the most I did. I never snuck out. I never did anything too crazy,
Yeah.
but I just always I don't know. I just kind of it was always kind of like they would tell me something and it would be like, "Okay, but why?" And if you don't
Okay.
give me a why, I like to find out for myself, whether good or bad. And
Right.
I'm still kind of like that now.
Live and
Whereas
learn.
my brother, bless him, he was always very by the book, and maybe that's just first child problems, right? Like he was just kind of going with the flow and just doing what mom and dad always said. Like it's not a bad thing. It's just then I came along and flipped their world upside down, and the rest is history.
Yeah. Your big brother, right, lives in Florida. How
Yeah.
is your relationship? He's in one, right? This might be the one for him. Tell us
Yeah.
about that.
Oh gosh. I mean, it's not really my story to tell,
Yeah.
but I will say as far as our relationship, we're very close.
Okay.
and we kind of always have been. Um, there's always that, especially with the boy-girl sibling relationships, that can
Yeah,
get tricky, especially when you're younger, of course, or teenagers,
for sure.
angsty teens, and all that stuff. But in our 20s, we definitely got super close. Like, I can honestly say now we're best friends. I talk to him every single day. He talks to me, obviously. We text all the time, send each other memes, all of the things. We talk
Yeah,
all of the time. He probably knows me better than anybody. Um, Even more than my parents, probably, right? But that's
right,
also kind of what siblings are for.
for sure.
So there's that. And yeah, I really like the person that he's with now. I'm really happy for him. It's still really new, so that's their thing to figure out. But,
Right.
here's hoping. She's a great girl. And, when you just, well, it's funny because they say, when you're with your person, but
Yeah.
also, like, I see her and I get a really good feeling about her too. And I've never
Okay.
really had that before. Not that I've had negative feelings, but
Right.
like, I feel a sense of calm, like, oh, this is good. This is who he needs. This is the kind of person that he needs. They take care of each other and all the good stuff. So,
Yeah,
yeah, fingers crossed.
that's awesome. You also, BF, you guys look great together. How
Thank
did
you.
you guys meet? How's that going?
It's good. It's really good. Um, oh boy, 11 years in the making.
Wow.
Um, we it's funny, we went to school together, elementary school. We
Wow.
met back in 8th grade. So my first Catholic school closed down in 7th grade. So I
Okay.
had that one more year of middle school before going to high school, and I went to this other Catholic school nearby where he was at.
Yeah.
And yeah, we were friends. He was the class clown and like
Yeah.
annoying, getting in trouble every day, the funny guy of the class. Everybody was
Right.
always cracking up with him and
Right.
all of the things. And we had like crushes on each other. I can remember that from back
Right.
in the day and people trying to get us together and blah, blah, blah. But again, my parents were strict.
Right.
So it was never going to work.
Right.
So young. And I don't know. I just tell people, if you've heard of the red string theory, I always tell people we were always from that point forward up until college in and out of each other's lives in one way or another.
Okay.
Friends, or just running into each other randomly, or just reconnecting somehow, or coming to each other for random advice, or whatever the case was. And it was kind of like right person, wrong time. I was in a
Okay.
relationship, or
The
he was
timing
in
was
a
off.
relationship.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
always something, always
Yeah.
something.
Right.
And then it just kind of worked at in the beginning of college. And
Right.
from then on, it's just he's my best friend. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Life is about timing, right? When you know, right? Like the
Yeah,
old saying goes, right? When you know.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You just turning the big 3-0. What an experience that was like. I
Yeah.
mean, it looked amazing. The videos, the photo shoot, the
Thank you.
inspiration behind it all. Tell us about that.
Yeah. Um, so I went through what I can only explain as a midlife crisis, for lack of a
Okay.
better word.
Right.
Um, I think as a woman in today's society, people put so much pressure on the woman to be married, to have kids, to do all of these things by a certain point.
Right.
And while there is no real certain point, the pressure just gets stronger and stronger the older that you get and
Yeah.
closer to 30s. And so I think I just kind of spiraled the whole month of August. My birthday is like mid-August, more or less. So I
Right.
was just kind of spiraling leading up to that day because I was like, I've been able to experience a lot and do a lot, and I'm grateful beyond belief. Obviously, I'm alive, I'm healthy, my family and friends are as well, all of the things. But I definitely couldn't help but think, like, damn, but, like, what do I have to show for it? Like,
Yeah.
which it shouldn't be like that because
Right.
I have the experiences that will, they're priceless. But still, like, where's the house? Where's the cars? Where's the kids, the money, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
And so I really went through it, and it was a mental game leading up to the day, but I just had this vision in mind. My best friend did a 30th birthday photo shoot, and every year I do a little photo shoot for myself, but
Okay.
I will take the pictures myself. I don't go to a place, I don't do anything too crazy,
Right.
so whatever. I had this idea that I was just like, this is the end of my 20s. And in a way, it is kind of mourning
Yeah.
something,
Hmm.
like I'm not dying, obviously, thankfully, but
Yeah.
like in a weird way, a part of me is dying and I'm moving on to this next big chapter, whatever that may be. So I had the idea for RIP to my 20s. And
Yeah.
the more that I kept thinking about it, the more I was like, hell yeah, let's like go all out. Let's make this weird and depressing. Like I wanted to get, which I did, but
Yeah.
it's so small. I wanted to get a little coffin. I wanted to get like a veil and like all of the things to make
Right.
it seem like a real funeral.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's only so much you can do in a situation like that, but we made it work. And, shout out to the photographer that helped me. She was great, and the makeup
Right.
artist, and all of the things. And then simultaneously, I shot the 30th.
Yeah.
And I feel like most girls think 13 going on 30, that movie with Jennifer Gardner. And so I had that kind of in mind too, and the Whitney
Right.
Houston song and all of the things. And I was like, I have to do it up as much as I did this, if not more. So,
Yeah.
it was one little idea that spiraled into something much bigger. And I'm grateful for all of them that helped me bring it to life. My mom and my best friend that were there helping filming the behind the scenes and all of that
Yeah.
too. And it was great. And now I have
Yeah.
those memories to last a lifetime.
For a
So,
lifetime. Yeah.
yeah,
That was
yeah.
amazing.
Thank you.
She's Emily Hernandez, digital creator, joining us on the program today. Before Cheesecake Factory, there was the Galleria Mall, right? At Garage
Yes.
Clothing. Then
Mhm.
CCF as a host. Maribel hired you, right? Senior year of college.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. First time working in the restaurant business, right? You wanted
Yeah.
to try something new, right?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So it was random in that I was just kind of like, well, I had done the retail before, I've done a gym at that point. So I kind of want to just try a restaurant job now.
Yeah.
I never thought I would be able to be a server. I was like, I'm far too clumsy for that.
You
But
dropping plates, carrying like
yeah,
this.
no, and it was terrifying. And I still remember those slippery or non-slip shoes that were
Yeah.
required.
Yeah.
And I would still slip sometimes. So I was like, oh yeah, no, I could never be a server.
Right.
But yeah, I was like, I want to do this. And I was like, I think a host job would be good. And it ended up being good because you still got a taste of everything. You still got to, be the host, but also you would help occasionally some of the servers or whatever the case is, the madness that goes on in the
Yeah.
background and all that. And so it was a hectic time and the hours were crazy, but I
Yeah.
loved it. I don't know. I thrive in things like that sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
I thrive in chaos, and when I need to get something done, like
Yeah.
peak hours, the lunch, dinner rushes, whatever, on a Friday, Saturday night,
Right.
you're running all over the place, you're going crazy, the crowds, everybody's getting mad at each other, but we get it done every
Co-
single time. And you know, you just have to do what you have to do, and then the chaos dies down, and then it's like, and it works out for the better.
Breathe, come back the
Yeah,
next day, control
absolutely.
chaos.
Do it all over again.
Yeah, tell me about it. You never wanted to leave CCF, right? But the commute was too long. It was
Yeah.
too much. Tell us about that. I remember pleading with you, like, Emily, please don't go. Please don't
Yeah.
go. Not
Yeah,
to
yeah.
leave, but you had your mind made up, right? It was
I
time.
did, and it was one of those things where we were I was so the Cheesecake Factory that we're at is in White Plains, and
Yeah,
so I'm in the South Bronx,
right.
and it was a big commute. So obviously when I was in college, it was different. It was easier because I went to Purchase College, which was
Yeah,
like 10 minutes away on the school bus or whatever the case is. And so it would leave you like right there on the corner. You walk like 5 minutes and vice versa to go back to campus.
yeah,
When I was going home and I graduated, I had to take a bus, which was like an hour in itself to get to the Metro North. I had to take the Metro North about another hour, more or less, to get to White Plains. Then
wow.
I had to either walk about half hour or more to get to the restaurant
Yeah,
or take a cab every single time, which was pricey too.
of course,
And
going and coming.
so, Yeah, and so it wasn't feasible anymore, and I tried, I really did. I don't know
Yeah.
how long I lasted after graduation, but I definitely tried my best, and, it was a good job, so it wasn't like, "Oh, I can't do this anymore, like, I don't like this place," or whatever. It was just it wasn't feasible, and I didn't have a car at the time either, so it was just really hard overall, um, so I had to let it go, and then
Yeah.
was hoisted into the real world after
The real
college,
world.
and, you know
Are you in contact with anybody from CCF when you worked there? Have you been back there anytime soon?
so I had gone a handful of times with my parents
Okay.
randomly,
Okay.
for, special occasions, parents' birthdays, anniversaries.
Okay.
Excuse me. And but not in a while. And it's so funny because I've been thinking about it a while too. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I would like to go back and whatever. I don't know who's still there. Now you're still there, whatever. But like, I don't
Yeah.
know who's still there anymore.
Right.
As far as contact, I did for a while, but I think it's one of those things that after a while you just kind of lose touch. I
Yeah.
have quite a few people on Facebook still and some other social media platforms. And occasionally I'll see them like view my story or whatever the case is. And I'm like, oh, that's so and so from Cheesecake. But
Yeah.
as far as regular contact, not really, unfortunately.
Okay.
But that's just how it goes sometimes.
That's life. That's
Yeah,
life.
yeah, yeah.
Life after CCF, professionally and personally, receptionist job, legal assistant, employee at a law firm. Tell us
Yeah.
about that. That was something totally
Yeah,
different too, right?
I
This is a
know
whole new beginning
entirely.
now. Yeah.
Honestly, it was just one of those things that first job out of college,
Yeah.
you're just kind of applying anywhere, seeing where will take you and how much they're willing to give you since you're so new and you don't really have too much of a resume outside of maybe things like retail or some internships or whatever the case is.
Right.
Um, and so yeah, I was just applying anywhere, and thankfully my old office manager, she was great and she just took a chance on me. She knew I had no experience with anything office related,
Right.
really. Um and she just gave me the benefit of the doubt, and I think I killed it for those 3 years after that. And it was great. It was a really small law firm. There were only like 6, 7 people. Um and within that, or rather not within that, but within the office space that we were at, there were also two other law firms that they were both pretty small as well. So I kind of just helped out with all three. And yeah, that was my life for like 3 years, three,
Wow.
4 years up until 2020. And it was crazy. It was kind of chaotic because yeah, I'm not a lawyer and I had no aspirations to be one. And
Right.
you know, um, but I will say it was great experience because my boss at the time, which, rest in peace, he passed away recently. He was so unbelievably old school.
Yeah.
And I'm talking writing every last thing out. I'm talking printing every last email out. He wanted
Wow.
everything physically.
Right.
No, he wanted nothing to do with technology. All he had was his little Blackberry. And other than that, he wanted everything physical. And so it was good experience because it taught me how to be really detail oriented
Yeah.
to the max that I never even thought was possible.
Right.
And so I think I kind of bring that along with me even now, obviously, for my current job, for social media, in general, in life, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, it was great. It was great. And in a weird way, it set me up for my current job because
Yeah.
I'm a contracts assistant. And so again, I'm no lawyer. I don't ask me any legal questions, but I brought a lot of those skills with me and here I am today.
Yeah.
So yeah.
He saw something in you. He maybe hadn't seen it back then, but he definitely saw something in you. So
Yeah,
little things like that. You never know who you cross
true.
paths in life.
Very true. It's so true.
Yeah. November of 2020, right? Your dream job, right? Your,
Yeah.
top five publishing company, Hachette Book Group, the Wait series, James Connolly. We're talking about that last week. How did this all come about? Author, writer, your real dream job. Then you got an email, right? From
Yeah.
Indeed. Within
Yeah.
2 weeks during COVID.
Yeah.
The rest is history.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. I had been applying to publishing jobs before that, God, for years. And some I would tell my mom about, some I would just do on my own because it was one of those things that you get discouraged after a while
Right.
and you don't want to talk about it and the rejection and whatever. But also,
Yeah.
it makes sense because I had no experience.
Right.
And yeah, when I got that email, my heart just dropped. I think I was, as most people did in 2020, I was
Hmm.
going through it mentally, just like, the lockdown stuff and personal stuff and all of the things. And so I think I remember, like, actually, it was one of those days that you're just going through it and it felt like one thing after the next. And
Right.
so when I got that email, I freaked out. And granted, it was contracts, so not
Hmm.
necessarily what I wanted to do, but
Right.
I was looking at it like, well, it's a foot in the right direction. It's
Sure.
a foot in through the door. And so we were, I was screaming up a storm, running all over the place, excited that I got this email. And granted, it
Yeah.
was just the first interview, but still, I was like, oh my God, I finally got called for this. And then when, we went through or I went through the process, and it was just so fast. It was so fast. They saw something in me. Ironically, in
Yeah.
a great fun way, I tell this story all the time. They actually told me the contracts director at the time, who is no
Right.
longer with the company, she interviewed me, and one of the things that caught her eye was the fact that I was a host at Cheesecake Factory, she said. And she said that
Wow.
it was, if you can work in the restaurant industry, you can do something like this because of the chaos and everything. You're constantly multitasking.
Yeah.
You come into contact with so many different people, learning how to maneuver them and all of the things. And that was one of the things that attracted her about my resume. And she was just like, I want to give this girl a chance. And here I am
Yeah.
5 years later. And I remember thinking, fine, I'll do it. And my parents were a little skeptical because, technically speaking, it was a little less money than what I was making in my old job. But I
Okay.
was I was so excited. I was like, I don't even care. I want to do
Give me
this
an opportunity.
already.
I want sign me
Yeah,
up. Yeah.
absolutely. And I was like, when am I going to get an opportunity like this again? Especially that it took me so many years. And
Right.
actually, a family friend ended up telling my mom and I, positions in the publishing industry don't come around that often.
Right.
So, you don't want to necessarily settle, but at the same time, it might not be bad to have that foot through the door and then you
Yeah.
can bounce around from
Go
there
from there.
after
Yeah.
however long.
For
And
sure.
so, my mind was already set up, but then when she told me that, I was like, "Oh, everything is done. I Sign me up. This is it." And yeah,
Yeah.
I've been there ever since. I just hit 5 years actually now in November.
Awesome. During COVID, right? How did you survive? The journey hasn't been easy, right? For a lot of us, a lot of Americans, the
Yeah.
whole world, right? Because COVID
Yeah.
pretty much destroyed the entire
Yeah,
world
yeah.
for a particular period of time in there. What was that like for you? Your dark days? How did you survive? What kept you going?
It was hard. It was really hard. And it was hard for different reasons. So many people were obviously going through actual health stuff, losing
Right.
family members, whatever.
Yeah.
I thank God every day that that was not us. We were very blessed, very lucky. We did get COVID, but we, alive and well, and all the
Right.
things, our family members, friends, whatever. So it wasn't that. I think it was just the mental game, not game, but the just we were in the house for months and months and
Isolation.
months.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was
Yeah.
hard. And then it was hard not seeing your significant other, your friends, your job, all of the things that as a human
Yeah.
basically
Yeah.
just came to a standstill. And as blessed as you are to be able to say that you're spending all of this time with your family,
Right.
you just kind of want to wring their neck out after a little while because, right, you're not used to that either.
Yeah, no
And
one's
it
used to
probably
that. Yeah.
would have been the same if you're stuck with your significant other all that time. No one is used to spending that much time at home
Yeah.
with all of the people in your life. And
Correct.
so there was that. There's a lot of butting heads, of course, but also just personally. I don't know. It was just, I think because it forces you to stop. And I was constantly on the go.
Yeah.
And when 2020 hit, I was working two jobs. I was traveling left and right. Like, I had one of the best years of my life in 2019, and then
Yeah.
boom,
It
COVID
just
hit,
stopped. Yeah.
and everybody was just like, "What the hell?" Truly.
Yeah.
And so, as someone that was constantly on the go, you were watching the news, you were seeing all of the things, and I was like, "Oh, this is awesome. We're having off from work for 2 weeks, stocked up on snacks, stocked up
Yeah.
on all the things." I'm like, "I'm gonna watch shows. It's gonna be great." 2 weeks turns into however many months or a year or whatever the case was.
Right.
And you kind of go a little stir crazy and you're paranoid and the anxiety sets in and you're like, this person, you don't know who's next to you, if they have it or whatever the case is.
Right.
And it was really rough. Um, that's when my anxieties started. And now I deal with anxiety. Thankfully, not that bad. It's under control and all of that. But
Okay.
it was bad. It was scary for a while as someone that had never been through it, and you're like, what's going on? Why do I actually feel like I'm going to die every single day? But it's not. It's just, heart racing and all of these things. And then you're freaking out. So then your
Yeah.
body is in fight or flight. And it's like, what's going on? Who are we hiding from? All of the things. And when you're not used to that, it just
Yeah.
keeps getting worse and worse. And you just spiral. And then that puts you in a dark place.
For sure.
So I guess to answer your question, I got into it's when I tapped into spirituality the most. I know earlier I said we went to Catholic school and I was
Yeah.
born and raised Catholic, but
For sure.
I don't really follow Catholicism anymore. And I find that I'm more of a spiritual person now. And I did a lot of my research for that in 2020, looking for ways to help cope with my anxiety. And, everybody's like, turn to God and pray and do this, that, the other. I did everything. And I was like, this is not working.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
didn't want to turn to, drugs, for lack of a better word. I didn't want to do, a lot of people recommended marijuana. I was like, I don't want to do that though. I
Calm you
don't
down
want
a
to
little
become
bit. Yeah.
reliant. I don't
Right.
want to feel like I'm only doing well because of this thing. And
Yeah.
then if I get off of it, what happens?
Yeah.
And so I was trying to find something that helped naturally as I possibly could. And so I turned to spirituality. I turned to myself internally. I was journaling a lot. I was meditating a lot. I was, people always like to joke, like, go touch grass. I was outside a lot. Thankfully, we have this yard where I could spend time in the front, in the back, and I was able to spend time in nature and feel like actually calm, and it helped. And
Yeah.
to this day, I still do a lot of those tactics and they help me so much. And that's my rant on spirituality for me.
Yeah, COVID was crazy. We shut down a Cheesecake Factory and we were doing
Yeah,
DoorDash
I've
for like
always wondered
months.
that.
And let me tell you, wearing a mask for like 10 hours and then finally taking it off. I forgot what people's faces look like. It was
Absolutely.
weird. Once we opened, I'm like,
Absolutely.
oh, that's all you look like. I totally just forgot about
Yeah.
everything. I was just working like 5 days a week.
Not to mention, you
But
can't fully breathe, which is
yeah,
kind of the point,
yeah,
to
it
help
was tough.
avoid things coming in or
Yeah,
whatever. But
right.
then that's rough. That's a whole
Yeah,
other thing. And then you
whole nother
start getting
issue.
paranoid because of that too. And
Yeah,
oh gosh,
yeah. What a time. Well, we survived, right? We're here today.
I
We
know.
survived.
Thank
We
goodness.
survived.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely.
Working from home, how's that, the interaction with people versus the office? Explain the
Yeah.
pros and cons working from home.
Sure. I also want to say I feel like I manifested work from home. I didn't think it was going to be in the capacity of COVID, but I definitely I don't know. Like I said, I was just going through it all those months up until COVID.
Yeah,
And I was like, I just want to know what it's like to work for myself, to work from home, and just do things on my own time and schedule. And then COVID hit, and I was like, oh my God, did I do
yeah,
this? How did this happen? And working at a law firm in the beginning of COVID was rough,
yeah,
especially with a boss that was so like, it was rough. And I
yeah,
had to bring, I remember I had to bring the office phone from the
right,
office. I had to
right.
connect it here. And so I'm constantly running around with the phone, and my parents are going nuts with it constantly ringing. And
Chaos.
sometimes it would be my boss, sometimes it would be the other law firms calling,
Yeah,
or whatever the case is. And so there was a lot of that, and I didn't expect that, but that obviously had its challenges. and then moving on to the publishing industry,
Right.
it was good because honestly, it's what I wanted. We could do everything on our computer.
Right.
And our jobs don't really require us to be in the office the way that, let's say, manufacturing or the publishers or editors or whatever the case is. We
Right.
can literally do everything as long as we have our computer and we're connected to the system.
Yeah.
So I personally loved it. I still love it. Um, as far as cons, I mean, yeah, you don't really get that interaction, obviously, nearly as much as you would in
Right.
office, but I kind of like that. I don't know. I always say I am one of the most socially antisocial content creators.
Yeah,
I
that
love
makes
my
sense.
bubble. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love my bubble.
Yeah.
I love just being here, being like creating and whatever. Obviously, when and if events happen, or if I have to go out and meet people to create, I love that. It's fun being able to connect with other people. But at the end of the day, I just love being in my little bubble. I love doing things on my own, and it's one of those things that they say, like, you do it yourself to do it right, right? Like,
That's
for
it.
some things, maybe not everything, but like
Right.
for some things. And as a Leo, I think that's just me as a person, and
Right.
that's only been further enhanced being in COVID and post COVID, sort of. Um, but I love it. I love being able to be home and not have to worry about the commutes on the trains and annoying people. And,
Yeah.
I'm in the comfort of my home. I'm safe, all of the things. Like, I can make my own food, coffee,
Yeah.
whatever. Don't have to worry about spending money on those things.
Right.
Granted, I still do every so often, obviously, but like, for the most part, I really do enjoy working from home. I know a lot of people have their feelings on it, but I also feel like that's kind of the old school generation being like, you
Yeah.
just got to go to
You
work.
gotta
And
go
it's
to
like,
work, hustle and
but
bustle,
you
grind it
can,
out every day.
yeah,
Yeah.
but you can be also so productive at
Yeah.
home in the comfort of your home.
Own home. Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize that. Like, I can't really explain it. It's something that you kind of have to experience on your own and like really give it a chance, obviously, because if you're
Right.
someone that can't stay still and always has to be out
Yeah.
and is used to that and you're not giving it a chance, of course it's not going to feel like, why am I home? My mom is like that. She's used to that because she's in that old school mentality. She loves
Yeah.
going into the office and all of the things, but
Yeah.
I am no longer like that.
Yeah. Whatever works for you works for you. That's it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Your videos, amazing, flawless through and through. Who holds the camera?
Do you really want to know?
I really want, this is a brewing question for a week. I was like, I
Mhm.
gotta ask this question. We'll save the answer for the show. And here
Yeah,
we are.
it's this tripod right here.
Ah, that
For the
guy.
most part. For the
Okay.
most part.
Okay.
Every so often my mom will help me now, especially that it's getting colder, it's getting
Yeah.
windier, and this thing it's sturdy, it's not that sturdy. It will go flying all over the place. And so
Yeah.
she'll help me every once in a while now, and whenever, especially if I ask her, she will help me.
Okay.
Um, but I would say 75-85% of the time it's just my tripod and I against the world.
That's
I go out, I find a spot, whatever looks good, and prop up the phone, prop up the tripod, and do
Yeah.
what I have to do for 20-30 minutes. If I'm out
Okay.
and about, if I'm home, obviously, then it's different. I can take my time, whatever. But
Right.
going to like the Upper East Side or whatever the case is, there's people everywhere. So you just kind of
Right.
have to be as quick as you can, hope for the best that they come out good, and yeah, go from there.
Yeah. You ever thought about making like a blooper reels, like
Oh,
behind the scenes
absolutely.
videos? Yeah. Have you
Absolutely.
ever?
All of the time. I actually, at one point,
Yeah.
I, so I use this app to take
Uh-huh.
my photos.
Okay.
And it's really good because you can set it for, let's say, 250 photos that will be taken in total, and each
Wow.
photo will be taken 2 seconds apart. So all you have to
Okay.
do is just prop it up, and you just go kind of like a timer basically, but
Right.
it'll stop at 250, or you can do more. And because of that, it's constant. right? If I'm
Yeah.
standing there and I don't turn it off, it's just going to keep going,
Keeps going and
taking a
going.
million pictures.
Right.
And so when I'm out in the wild and I'm taking photos, there will be people, some people will be more considerate than others,
Right.
and I can't even get mad at it because I am in public and whatever. They have a right to walk in the sidewalks, obviously.
Sure.
But they will come literally right
Right
past
in
the
front of
camera
you. Yeah.
sometimes. And I find that they all do this thing.
Uh-huh.
It's not so bad that they look to see, like, oh, what is she doing? Or what is she posing for, or whatever. They
Right.
all do this thing where they look directly at the camera. And I cannot tell you how many photos I have of random people, accidentally doing funny faces or looking
Right.
like angry or whatever the case is. And I've posted them a few times as
Yeah.
like, day in the life of a content creator. And I'll do things like that. I've posted videos where I will, be filming a video and someone will be like, "You look amazing," or like
Right.
people laughing or whatever the case is in the
Right.
moment. And so I do that every once in a while.
Okay.
Yeah, it's funny. It is funny to be able to look back on and like
Yeah.
talk about. I tell my brother all the time. I'll send him the photos a lot too because I'm just like, why are they looking like this? Like,
Right.
it
Right.
never fails, and it's the funniest thing to be able to look back on.
That's funny. The time, the energy in making your videos, how tedious can it be? It is actual work, right? It is work. For somebody out there,
It
it's
is.
a lot of work, right?
It's a lot of work. It's fun work, but it's a
Yeah.
lot of work. It can be hard. It can be frustrating
Yeah.
sometimes. Um, I can't even tell you how long it takes. It just differs between the photo or the video or whatever the case is. But yeah, I shoot everything on my own for the most part. I edit everything on my own. Um, and it is tedious, but when you enjoy it,
Yeah.
it's fine. It's second nature. Obviously, some videos are better and easier than others, but
Right.
for the most part, it's fun. I love it. Like, I could do it all day. If
Yeah.
I had the time and ability to, I would do that all day. I
Yeah.
kind of do. Every chance I get, you'll catch me on my phone, like, just editing something or
Right.
working on the next thing or whatever the case is. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's tedious, but when you enjoy something, it doesn't really feel like work.
It
It
doesn't
just
really feel
feels
like
like,
work. Yeah.
yeah, you get excited and you want to keep going. You want to be on to the next thing and like, okay, what's next now? And
Yeah.
you know,
Amazing. Amazing. I saw yesterday that LTK app. That
yeah,
was pretty cool. I was like, wow, that's amazing.
yeah,
Tell us about that. Your full shopping experience. It's
yeah.
well done by you. Super cool. Who gave you that idea?
So a lot of content creators use that app
Okay.
along with the Shop My that I also posted about, but I don't use that one, but they're fairly similar from what I've learned recently. LTK is ultimately an app that you can use for linking anything. It's a way that content creators can make commission off of the pieces that they wear. And
Okay.
so you may have noticed whenever I post a photo now, shortly after I'll post a link linking all the pieces. Sometimes people ask, sometimes they don't. I don't always ask people for links, but sometimes I'll be scrolling and I'll be like, oh, that's really cute. I wonder where that is. And then they link it and it's a whole thing.
Right.
And so I don't think it's just fashion. You can link nearly everything on there, but I think from what I've seen and experienced, most fashion creators use
Right.
it. I use that primarily for my outfits, but also occasionally for like home stuff or coffee stuff or, whatever the case is, I'll do my best to link those too.
Right.
And yeah, it's just a really cool app that it's ultimately like shopping my closet, kind of. It's like a link to my closet,
Right.
basically. Is
Yeah.
every single thing from my closet in there? No, of course not. But I do my best to link everything because you never know who's going to want to see it. And, it's a nice little way to make some extra money.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's pretty cool. Like your fashion sense, where did that come from? Who inspired you? How did you even get that? For me, I love
Yeah.
fashion, but I'll wear black pants or with everything, right? Because I
Yeah.
don't know, I'm a dude, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you, like everything is like coordinated bit by
Yeah. I
bit
do
by
my
bit.
best. Thank you.
Amazing. I'm like,
Thank you.
where did you get that fashion sense from?
It's been a long time coming, because I
Okay.
was kind of like that for the way that you are too for a long time, actually.
Right.
Um, I was never one of those girls that cared about things like that. And I mean, I I do, but I don't care now too. I just kind of whatever I feel comfortable in, I will put together. Like this
Okay.
is a really chunky sweater, but it's cute. I feel
Yeah.
comfortable, I feel warm in it. And so I will wear something and shoot something like this because it's also relatable. It's
Yeah.
realistic, you
Right.
know?
Right.
And I think for a while, especially starting out, you're kind of trying to go with the trends,
Okay.
especially as a female, I guess,
Right. Right.
and just kind of yeah, the trends, whatever's trending in the moment, you wanna do that, but then you realize that everybody literally looks the same.
Yeah.
So how do you do this thing that you wanna do
To be
while
different.
also being realistic? Because I'm not always prim and proper, let's be real. I
We have our
don't
days.
always like wearing makeup, I don't always like doing my hair,
Right.
like all the
Right.
things. And that's why it's taken me a while to really find my personal style. And actually, I can credit some of this seriously to my boyfriend because he has really
Okay.
great style, but he has really like calm, effortless style. Like he will do a lot of basics, but
Okay.
elevate the basics. And so he's kind of taught me that because it's true. Like just because it's a plain white tee doesn't mean you can't style it in a way that it looks dressier than what it really is.
Yeah.
And it took me a while, but I finally got that as well. And so now, I don't know, I kind of consider myself like effortless everyday style because
Okay.
that's what it is. I want to show people not only are these clothes that I'm actually wearing,
Yeah.
but I would want to wear this every day. And I'm not simply trying to sell you the way that unfortunately some creators are. And
Right.
it's not realistic to be in heels or like dresses or blazers or whatever every single day. And so you'll catch me really dressed up sometimes, but then you'll also catch me in a sweater and leggings other
Yeah.
times. And
Yeah.
that's actually how it goes. I
Right.
wear these things on a day to day basis. And I just want people to know like this is realistic. It's not, I mean, yeah, you can, sometimes your fashion runway and all that stuff, but like for the most part, it's not always going to be like that. And that's
Right.
okay. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anything you're working on now, what can we expect from you
Oh boy.
upcoming? What's the big reveal?
Yeah. I mean, the holidays are coming up, right? We're
Yeah.
kind of in the midst of the holiday season.
Right.
So I'm working on a lot of stuff for that. Thanksgiving, Christmas, Black Friday sales,
All right. Yeah.
holiday gift guides. I want to do that this year. I try to do it every year. I kind of always do it too late,
Right.
but I'm really trying to get better at doing it much earlier so people can take advantage and whatever the case is.
Right.
And so things like that. And I also just want to, I'm trying to be more personable on social
Okay.
media. I think I do a good job of that on Instagram, but
Okay.
on TikTok, I'm trying to like actually talk more and show my voice and all of the things because Instagram is very aesthetic based. And while
Yeah.
you can do that on TikTok, I feel like you can be more personable on TikTok as well. And that's what I want to do. People want to see more of that in this day and age. Like they're looking for realism. They don't always want
Right.
to see aesthetic and like,
The
no, I
fluff.
want to
Yeah.
see you be a mess. I want to
Right.
see how you are in your day-to-day routine. Excuse me. And so I am working on that. I'm working on trying to do that. I think it's working slowly but surely.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're growing every day. So let's see.
That's awesome. Do you ever turn it off? I mean, creating is always like, I hardly sleep, right? Because I'm like worried
Yeah,
about somebody else beating me to the punch. Do you ever turn it off? How do you manage your time being in between creating, editing, and business task?
sure. Um, I don't turn it off. I do not turn it off.
Right.
I'm always thinking about something, you know?
Yeah.
I'm always thinking about what my next post is going to be or what's the next outfit I want to shoot or sometimes I'll be working on my 9 to 5 and then
Yeah.
I'll get an idea in my head and so I'll immediately grab my phone or write it down or whatever the case is So no, I don't turn it off, but I also don't think it's a bad thing
Hmm.
necessarily.
Okay.
It's just it is constant.
Yeah.
So, but again, I love it, so it's not like I'm tired of it. And push comes to shove, if I do start getting burnt out or something, which has happened in the past,
Yeah.
I take a break. I know how to step back and be like, okay, it's okay that I'm
Right.
not posting for a day or two, and I need to take
Right.
care of myself because otherwise, what's the point in all of this? And yeah, and doing everything with my 9 to 5, and that it can get tricky. It
Yeah.
can, but I do find time to, time
Navigate.
spaces
Yeah.
in between to navigate and be able to be like, okay, well, my lunch is 1 to 2, so I can squeeze something in there and I can
Right.
film something or whatever the case is. And so I'll have my stuff ready to go so that I'm not wasting time and I can just get this done and whatever the case is. Um, so it can get tricky, but I always make it work. And I do think that that's also another benefit of being able to work from home,
Right.
because obviously I would not have that kind of
Luxury.
leeway
Yeah.
if I
Yeah.
was in the office. So it's kind of a blessing for that as well. And yeah, yeah, it's
That's
just
awesome.
it's a push and pull, give and take
Give and
situation.
take. Yeah,
So,
for sure. She's Emily Hernandez, digital creator, joining us on the program today. Ready for some content creation questions here? Big ones for you.
hit me.
What inspires your content ideas?
Yeah. Well, I want to say the easiest term that I can use for it is kind of like seasonal, right?
Okay. Right.
Because, like, for example, now we're in November. It's a fun time of year for content creators to be able to
Yeah.
post Christmas stuff, all kinds of different content, gift ideas, decorating, baking, cooking, outfit ideas for Thanksgiving or Black Friday deals or whatever the case is. And so even with the rest of the seasons, when winter rolls around, there's winter fashion. People are constantly looking for winter clothes, boots, whatever, or books to read because, it's cold, it's snowy outside. What can we do? Or shows to watch, whatever.
Right.
And so it's this constant thing of, well, what's coming up that we can kind of like take advantage of? That's not a great term to use, but, like to really capitalize on that
Yeah.
thing that's coming up. Valentine's Day, birthdays, 30th birthdays. I knew a
Yeah.
lot of people turning 30 on or around the same time as me. And so when they saw that I posted those ideas, they were
Yeah.
like, oh my God, I
I
am
didn't think of
saving
that.
this for when I
Yeah.
do it because this
Right.
is amazing. And
Right.
so it's things like that that kind of help. Or, yeah, it just depends on what's going on around that day, that week, that month, whatever the case is.
Right.
And I personally have an ongoing list of content ideas in my notes app. So I'm
Okay.
constantly reading that, constantly adding to it, taking stuff out. What did I do already? What do I still need to do? And just, yeah, just constantly updating that.
Yeah.
There's like a never ending flow of ideas. And sometimes I'll be laying in bed and I'll get an idea and I'm like, oh my God, I was just about to fall asleep. And this just hit me.
How do you stay creative when you're feeling uninspired? We all have our days and moments, right? How do you stay
Absolutely.
creative?
It can be tough sometimes, and this is something that I definitely struggle with. I think the biggest thing, as cliche as it sounds, is just remembering that I have goals that I want to accomplish. I have things I want to do. I have places I want to see,
Yeah.
money that I want to make with this one day, whatever. And so, how do you do that? You have to show up, you know? And
Yeah.
it's not showing up where you're miserable, forcing yourself or anything like that, but it's pushing yourself to the limits, but not in an unbearable sort of way. Knowing
Correct.
that you have to persevere sometimes and really just do the thing. Don't let it make you miserable and don't let it burn you out, but
Right.
push yourself enough because you also never know. I've posted videos and photos sometimes that I'm like, oh, I'm not happy with this. This is not
Yeah.
going to do well.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
the thing that does well.
That does
And it
well. Yeah.
drives
Yeah.
me insane because I'm just like, are you kidding me right now?
Right.
Seriously? But
Right.
that also happens all the time. It's part of the algorithm. It's part of just what is with social media. You really never know what's going to take off. And again, it kind of also goes hand in hand with the realism aspect because sometimes you look like a bum. Sometimes you don't
Yeah.
do much and you
Yeah.
just post it, but it's real. And that's what people want to see and connect with too. They want to know, oh, you're having a
Authentic.
day like
Yeah.
I am.
Right.
And so it can be hard sometimes, but it's just kind of finding the motivation to keep going and keep in mind that you want to do this. And in order to do this, you have to push through the bad days.
Yeah.
And if you don't have an idea, just that's okay. You can take a day, you can take a few hours, whatever it is you need for yourself, and just kind of remember and think like, okay, what can we do to do better tomorrow? And
Right.
I think I do a pretty good job of that. I struggle sometimes, but that's also why you have good people around
Around
you
you.
that
Yeah.
remind you,
Yeah.
you know, like
Yeah.
my boyfriend is really good at being like the blunt one and just you got to do it.
He'll
Just
tell
like
you how it
what's
is.
wrong with
Yeah.
you? Like you're
Right.
so good. Just do it. And my mom too, my mom will be like she's just as blunt if not worse and she's constantly humbling me and being like just shut up, stop complaining, and go do what you have to do.
Yeah.
And then I do it, and then I'm like, Mom, I did it. She's like, Yeah, no fucking kidding. I knew
Yeah.
that you would. And I'm like, I know, but you get in your head sometimes. And like,
Yeah. Yeah. The
one thing about
headspace.
me, I'm gonna complain, but I'm also gonna get it done. So
Right.
sometimes you also just need to get that out and then just dust it off and be like, okay, we're good. I freaked out a little bit, but we're getting it done now, and that's
Right.
okay.
What's the process from idea to finished post video? What's the process like? How soon do you post?
Um, It kind of depends.
Okay.
I have been getting into the habit of batch creating my content because it has been getting a little trickier, especially with my 9 to 5.
Right.
The end of the year is always super busy for us. And so I try and keep that in mind and batch create on the weekends. So Friday to Sunday, whether it's one look, whether it's two, whether whatever, a video idea, I try to do all or some of it at least on the weekends so
Yeah.
that they're, for the most part, with the exception of some editing, they are there. I have them. I'm ready to go. And then on, let's say, Sunday night, I'll prepare my posts for Monday. Monday, I'll usually prepare my posts for Tuesday. Or if I have extra time on the weekends, I will prepare several posts. I
Yeah.
actually did that for a few reels on Instagram last week, and I didn't have to do much. I just posted it like this morning too. I was
Right.
like, "Oh my god, I have to prep my reel," and then I checked, and I had prepped it already, and I was like, "Oh, thank God for
Right.
past me." So it's things like that. Prep time, it just depends on what it is. My
Okay.
photo carousels, I just have to edit them a little bit. I don't really do too much because I don't want it to seem unrealistic.
Yeah.
Um, but then finding a caption and adding the hashtags and whatever, that can be
Yeah.
kind of time consuming. Um, but overall, it doesn't take that long. It's
Okay.
just, yeah, I always try to do it at least a day or two in advance.
Okay.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, or sometimes I'll go out to shoot with my mom on Fridays and I forget to post my Friday posts because we're doing something else and
Right.
it throws things off a little bit, but it is what it is. Otherwise, it's just, you know, finding the time to sit and do it, which is usually at night for me as I'm
Okay.
curled up in bed or whatever, just prepping things for the week and or at least mapping them out. Like, okay, I want to post this on Monday. I will do that. I wanted this specific one for Wednesday, and so on and so on. So
Yeah. That's awesome. Do you follow trends or focus more on original content?
I think I do a little bit of both.
Okay.
Um, I think it's inevitable in today's day and age. There's always something trending, whether it's a song, whether it's I don't know, a challenge or whatever the case is, a pair of shoes, right? For a
Yeah.
long time, there were a pair of Adidas that were the Sambas that were trending and everyone saw them and it was like, how do you style these? Blah, blah, blah. And so sometimes, and I try not to focus on it too much because the problem with that is that you're following the crowd
Yeah.
at that point. And
Right.
while people want to see that, it's not the only thing that they want to see and you need to stand out, right? Because the social media space is so saturated, which
Yeah.
is okay. So many people want to do it, and there is room for everybody here. However, because of that, you do need to try a little harder to stand out, whatever that may be for you as an individual.
Right.
And so sometimes it doesn't hurt to throw in a trend every once in a while. I obviously I do it and they do well sometimes. They don't do well other times because so many people do them.
Yeah.
Um, Original content, I think I would say that's like 85% of my content, but also I do take inspiration from the people that I follow. Of course, I also think that's kind of inevitable. You see them do a certain type of video and then you start visualizing, oh, well, I could do something like that, but like this,
Right.
and just tweak it, or an outfit, let's say, or whatever the case is, and just kind of putting your own twist on it. Um, so is it copying? Maybe, I guess, kind of, but also you're putting your own spin on
Your own
things, which is
spin on
fun
things. Yeah.
too. So
Exactly.
I would say a healthy mixture. So
How do you go by like picking out a certain location, lighting? We talk about lighting, right?
yeah,
Very important, right?
yeah,
Location.
yeah,
How do you go? How do you like randomly pick like where I want to be or what I want to do and the lighting?
yeah. So that's difficult sometimes.
Okay.
I'll say now, let's say during this time of year, it kind of goes back to figuring out the content that you want to do.
Okay.
There's a lot of seasonal content going on now for the holidays and stuff. So it's kind of like, well, I'm in New York City. Where
Yeah.
can I go in the city to shoot holiday content? Rockefeller Center, Radio City Music Hall, Bryant Park, the list goes
Yeah.
on and on. And so you kind of look at things like that and be like, okay, I can hit these spots. And then the aestheticness of it all plays into it too, right? Because there are
Right.
people all around the world that want to come to New York City for these places, and then they see you posting about it, and then it just spirals from there.
Right.
So it just kind of depends. For fall, I did a lot of that too. It's just kind of like, well, where are some nearby? You think about like fall foliage, you think about pumpkin
Right.
patches, apple
Yeah.
picking, all of the things, farm life kind of. Where can I go around this general vicinity that will give me those vibes? And
Right.
so I found a farm in New Jersey. And so you drive out to Jersey and then you do things like that. I do a lot of research when it comes to that. And I will literally like just Google, like, where can
Look.
I go for an apple cider float around
Yeah.
here? You
Okay.
know,
Yeah.
or like Christmas trees around New York. And some places will be super known, like I said, Rockefeller Center, whatever. But obviously, those places are super touristy. So you have to be careful with that and at all times of the day. So if you're
Right.
not with someone, it's going to get really difficult to be able to shoot.
For
So your
sure.
options are either wake up, which I've actually done before, wake up at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning to
Wow.
go and shoot when not a soul is there,
Wow.
or you got to find the hole in the wall places, the
Yeah.
restaurants that not as many people know of that are super decorated, or the lesser known parks or places that have Christmas decor or whatever the case is. So, along with the content ideas, I also have a running list of locations that I can go to. And I just constantly do research on that. That's the best way that I can phrase it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and people will ask me, "How do you find this? How do you find that?" It really is just research,
Doing your
Googling. Like,
homework. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It is work, people. Content creation,
It
it's a lot of
is.
work.
It is. And people just try to make it seem like it's just taking
Flash in the
pictures
pan.
and
Yeah.
videos of
Yeah.
yourself. And while, yes, that is obviously a big aspect,
Yeah.
it's nowhere near as easy as a lot of people think. It's hard to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
It's scary sometimes to put yourself out there. It's hard to put yourself out there and potentially get judged.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I pride myself in having thick skin, but not a lot of people don't. And
Yeah.
a lot of people get bullied for things like that, or their own family and friends talk about that, and they
Yeah.
get bullied all the time by people. And it's like, but let's see you do it if it's so easy,
Yeah.
if it's
Those are the ones
no
that
big
talk smack,
deal.
aren't the ones that are doing it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't even try.
Right.
They wouldn't even try for an
Right.
hour, which is okay. It's not for
Right.
everybody. But then you also need to give credit where it's due to the people that are doing this and are making a living off of it, because it's not
For
as
sure.
easy as people try to make it seem.
For sure. What platforms do you focus on the most and why?
So for a while it was Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
Okay.
This year, 2025, I dropped YouTube a little bit because
Okay.
it's a lot of work. It
Yeah.
is a lot of work.
Yeah.
And those are long form videos,
Okay.
obviously. So they could go anywhere from 20, 30 minutes, maybe less, maybe more. It's a lot. And so between that, Instagram and TikTok, I was like, I would love to be able to do this. And if I was a full time creator, I would do this,
Yeah.
but I'm not. And so I have to be realistic and focus on TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah.
And so those are my main platforms now. But also, I think in recent months, I've really been focusing my energy on TikTok because it's just so much more freeing to be able to post on TikTok. And I feel like I could really be myself.
Yeah.
You can post several times a day on there and get all kinds of different people, different interactions and engagement and whatever. And yeah, I kind of think that TikTok is better than Instagram in that sense right now. And so I
Okay.
still obviously post on Instagram, but I don't necessarily put as much energy, I guess, into it.
Okay.
I'm putting all of my time and energy into TikTok right now. So,
TikTok.
yeah.
How do you measure the success of your content? How do you go by that?
Um I think I've gotten a lot better at trying not to focus on the likes, the comments, and all that
Okay.
stuff. I think it's hard, especially when you're
Yeah.
first starting out, because obviously you want your stuff to do really well. Um, and I still struggle with it from time to time, but I've gotten a lot better at being like, you did really well on this video.
Right.
Whether it gets the engagement that you hope for or not, you put a lot of time and effort into this. You look great, the editing looks great, and you're doing all of the things that you need to. Everything else will follow eventually. And
Correct.
so I also remember seeing this quote or this fellow creator saying, yeah, you got only 2 or 300 views on this
Mhm.
video, but can
Right.
you imagine seeing said 2 or 300 people in a room? That's a big deal, even
Right.
if it doesn't seem like it. Or 100 likes. Like, that's a big deal, even if
Yeah.
it may not seem like it compared to what you're used to or what you're hoping for or whatever the case is. And so I've gotten a lot better at putting things like that into perspective because it really is true.
Yeah.
And it's important to remember, and everything else really will follow. And those aren't the most important things in the world, you
Yeah.
know? Everybody wants to chase the likes, the views, and all that. And
Yeah.
to an extent, it is important. But if you're just focusing on that, it's not gonna happen because you're not having fun with it. You're putting far too much pressure on yourself, far too much pressure on these numbers that don't determine who you are as a person. Your actual content does.
Right.
And eventually, if it's meant to be, you will get there. And 9 times out of 10, people do end up getting there. They just have to keep pushing through the views jail or whatever the case is,
I
you
like
know?
that. Views jail. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we
It's
call it on
true.
TikTok. It's
Very
TikTok
true.
views jail if you're
Yeah.
in the 2 to 300 views area and not
Right.
moving. But it's
Right.
like, you got to put it into perspective sometimes.
For sure. I asked you this last week and I gave you some time to think about it, right? What's been
Yeah.
your most successful post or campaign and why do you think it worked?
Yeah. So I have two, and
Okay.
I'll be relatively quick about explaining them. One was paid, one wasn't.
Okay.
And so I guess I'll start with the one that was, well, you tell me, which would you rather hear first?
The not paid one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was a clothing brand called
Okay.
Vici that I actually really love. Genuinely, I love their clothes. I had been buying their stuff for years, and I had pitched myself via email to them a few times before um, the campaign happened. And so the first time they were like, "Sorry, you don't have." Ultimately, I'm paraphrasing.
Right.
Sorry, you don't ultimately have the follower count that we're looking for. Okay, that sucked,
Mm,
but whatever, fine. A couple
okay.
months went by. I tried again because you never know what can happen in the matter of a
Right.
couple months, a year, whatever. And obviously, there had been growth on my end, so you just never know. I tried again. They were like, "Oh, thank you. We appreciate you reaching out, but we're not looking for creators at the moment." Okay, that's fine as long as it's not my content and,
Right.
my numbers or whatever. Okay, cool. in March of this year, that same brand ended up reaching out to me and being like, "Hey, we have this spring collection that we would really like you to, if you would like, be a part of." And I thought that was amazing. I hadn't pitched myself to them
Right.
that third time. They came to me this time. And so that was a really big deal because number one, I genuinely love their stuff. I had bought
Okay.
stuff with my own money, obviously, on my own multiple times before. And just the fact that I had gotten rejected by them
Yeah.
on two separate occasions and then they were coming to me was such a big deal.
Yeah.
And so it showed growth on my end with my content and all that stuff, and that they're watching, which is kind of cool. And they see that, like, they see something,
Yeah.
whatever that may be, numbers or whatever. So that was really exciting. And then obviously when I posted about it, everybody was super happy for me. And the video did really well. I did like a try on of all of the pieces that they sent me and whatever. And so that did really well. The second one was my second paid brand deal ever, which was
Okay.
actually end of last year. I had told myself in 2024 that of course, I wanted a paid brand deal throughout the year, but I had manifested that I wanted this paid, not by this brand, but just in general, a paid brand deal
Right.
by or before the end of 2024. And this deal came in 2 weeks before the end of 2024.
Wow.
And it was the first time that I had advocated for myself because I have set rates for, posts and whatever that I do.
Mhm.
But it was the first time that I was like, I'm going to see what I can get out of this,
Okay.
because you never know unless you ask, unless you
Right.
try.
You try. Right.
And I know
Correct.
what I'm bringing to the table too. I know the time and the effort. I know the kind of content that I put up and whatever. So I was like, let me just see. The worst that they'll say is no. And I did, excuse me. And they accepted my offer and
Wow.
they gave more than they were offering originally, which was a big deal because, you hear bigger creators talk about stuff like that all the time, advocating for yourself. But sometimes brands unfortunately like to take advantage of the smaller creators because they think
Yeah.
they don't know what you're doing and
Correct.
you don't have any real, experience or whatever the case is. So I was just like, let me just try. And it wasn't anything crazy. It's not like astronomical what I was asking for, but it worked. So that taught me, like, you never know unless you try. You know what you bring to the table. And these brands have money that they're willing to spend.
Yeah.
You just gotta advocate for yourself. And sometimes it will be no, and that's okay. But also sometimes like this, it will be yes. And you
Yeah.
would have never known that if I didn't
Didn't
try.
try. Yeah. You just got to
Yeah.
keep on pushing. One door
Yeah.
closes, another one opens, right?
Absolutely,
That's how it works.
completely. And
Yeah.
you never know what's going to come of that. So I
For
would say
sure.
that those two were thus far some of my best campaigns.
Yeah. How do you handle algorithm changes or drops in engagement? How do you handle that? Is that a thing?
It is. It's so frustrating. The algorithm and I have beef on a regular basis,
Yeah.
but it's one of those things that you can't really focus on. And it's easier said than done, especially for creators that are just starting out.
Right.
But it is true because it will make you go crazy.
Yeah.
I am a
Yeah.
testament to that. It's just, it's constantly changing. There's
Yeah.
just physically no way to keep up with the algorithm. It changes on a day to day, a weekly basis,
Basis.
whatever the
Yeah.
case is.
Right.
And you just kind of have to do what feels right for yourself. You kind of just have to feel out what you're posting and do a personal deep dive and be like, okay, this worked. It didn't do too bad, but it didn't work as well. And you just kind of have to attempt to capitalize on what did work.
Right.
Try recreating it in a different way, a different setting, a different outfit, whatever the case is, and hope for the best. And then if you see that it doesn't work the second time, that's okay. You move on to the next thing.
Got it.
But the algorithm is tricky, and I have a theory that there is no real freaking algorithm because there's no way something like that changes as frequently as it does.
Yeah. It's
But,
crazy. Yeah.
you
Day
know,
to day.
yeah.
how is it important to be consistent? You say about posting. How often do you post, and how do you say stay so consistent? Is that important? Consistency is key, right?
Absolutely. Always,
Yeah.
always. Um, Ultimately, I post every day of the week,
Yeah.
realistically.
Wow.
On TikTok, I make it a point to try posting 2 or 3 times a day, every
Okay.
single day.
Okay.
On Instagram, I will post one in feed post every single day. Well, during the week. I don't really post on weekends. And
Okay.
then just posting on my stories if and when I feel like it.
Yeah.
Consistency is key though, because supposedly that helps the algorithm. The more the
Yeah.
algorithm sees you, the more willing they are to push out your stuff. How can they push out your stuff if you're only posting once a week?
Yeah.
Excuse me, sorry, twice a week,
Right.
whatever the case is. And so there's this thing that goes around on TikTok now that says you have to bully the algorithm. You have to keep showing up. You have to
Yeah.
keep showing your face,
Yeah.
even if it
Yeah.
gets annoying. And there will be people that post 5, 10 times a day on TikTok, apparently. That I don't think
Wow.
I could ever do that, but
That's a lot.
yeah, it is a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
But 2 or 3 times seems to work for me. And slowly but surely, I'm growing. So that's just kind of where I'm at. And
Yeah.
again, like I said earlier, if I don't post one time throughout the week, that's okay. It is what it is. Like you'll make up for it the next day. But generally, yeah, consistency and whatever that means for you as a creator is
Yeah.
so important.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to somebody trying, maybe give it to somebody maybe trying to turn content creation into a full-time thing or part-time thing? What kind of advice would you give somebody?
Yeah. Um, I would say that you have to actually like what you do,
Okay.
right? Because
Right.
if you're just going, and so many people talk about this too, it sounds so cliche, but it
Yeah.
really is true. If you're going into this with the mentality that you just want to make a lot of money,
Right.
it's going to be miserable for you. It might work because unfortunately it does work for some people,
Right.
but it also 9 times out of 10 will not work. You
Okay.
have to really enjoy being a creator, being creative, and your routines or your coffee, whatever your niche is, whatever your thing is, you have to enjoy it. You have to actually want to connect with people. And so I would say consistency is key, as hard and difficult as it can be in the beginning, because it is. It really is finding your flow and finding your niche, what it is that you want to be known for, or whatever, and then growing a following. It can be really difficult sometimes, especially in the beginning. And it
For
sucks.
sure.
And you're going to want to give up a
Yeah.
bajillion times. Lord knows I did. Lord knows sometimes every so often I still do. And I'm like,
Right.
what am I even doing? But once you push through that, you do see whether it's 5 people, 10 people, whether it's 100 people, you end up growing a little community of people. And for me personally, that's one of the most fulfilling things, because now I know I have my set of people that are constantly watching, whether they're family and friends or whether they're my little internet besties. Like
Yeah.
there are people that will show up for you,
For
and
sure.
it might not happen right away, but you just have to kind of keep going, keep
Yeah.
posting, and enjoy it. Once you're just doing it for money or views or whatever, it's going to be miserable for you. You're not going to
Yeah.
want to keep going, and you're going to want to give up, and it's just not going to be a good time. So consistency, taking, your time and not forcing anything, and finding your small core group of support.
Yeah.
And that unfortunately might not be family, it might not be friends, really might be strangers.
Yeah. You
Nine
never
times
know.
out of 10, it is strangers that will support you before your family and friends. And that is a really shitty feeling
Yeah.
when you're first starting out. But you just got to push through and remember why you're doing it. If you have a real intention, a real enjoyment for it, and just keep that in mind and keep going until you get to wherever it is you want to be in this journey.
Yeah.
So,
Well said. Well said. What advice would you give your younger self now versus way back when? What kind of advice would you give yourself? Did you see yourself being this today?
no, no, actually. Um, that is, wow, that's a really good question. And kind of bad that I'm not. I've never really thought. I mean, I've thought of it, but Yeah, I've come a long way, I think. And I would just say to keep going because you will get to where you are one day. And again, it sounds cliche, I'm sorry, but it is
Yeah,
true.
right.
You just never know what can happen in a month, 6 months, a year, how much can change
Yeah,
and how much you can accomplish in that time if you don't give up on yourself. And so, especially as a young person, right? And this is also kind of courtesy of my strict old school Hispanic parents,
yeah,
is that a lot of people aren't going to see your vision. And sometimes it sucks because it's like you think that no, I know I want to do this,
right.
whether it's a singer, an actress, a writer, whatever the case is. You're little and you're like, I have this thing that I want to do. People are going to tell you be realistic. People are going to tell you, yeah, but not everybody makes it in that career and blah blah blah. It's unfortunate, but they will try and discourage you.
Put you
But if it's
down.
something you really want to do,
Yeah,
just keep at it, whatever it may be. And even if it's not serious, because obviously I didn't have a phone when I was younger, so like what did I know about things like that? And my
right.
parents were very strict, so I didn't have social media until I was like in high school or something like that. But I was always writing. I was always drawing, coloring, taking pictures with the digital cameras, whatever the case is. And
Yeah,
without realizing it, you're polishing your skills by doing things like that until
correct.
you get to a place like, let's say, your teenage years or 20s where you can actually do that thing.
Correct.
Just keep at it, you know? And I never in a million years thought that I would end up in a top 5 publishing house. I
Yeah,
never in a million years thought that I would be working with some of the brands that I do now as a content creator. And
yeah,
granted, some of those things are more recent, but better late than never. And
yeah,
even if it doesn't work out, at least I can say that I put myself out there. I tried. I
yeah,
did get to work with some amazing brands, even if I didn't achieve whatever goal it was that I wanted to. I tried and I have
yeah,
no regrets about that. And so you just have to kind of keep going, keep the keep the end goal in mind and
yeah,
keep pushing and remember why you want to do this to begin
yeah.
with. As hard as it is because yeah, you want the support of your family and friends, but again, they're not always going to see the vision that you see. And that's
Correct.
okay. It's your vision, it's not their vision. So,
Correct.
you just got to keep going.
Got to live your
That's
life.
the
Keep
best.
going. Never give
Yeah,
up. Yeah, yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
She's Emily Hernandez, digital creator, joining us on the program today. Regular questions for you, right? Any hobbies?
Yeah. Reading. I love
Okay.
reading. I am very much a part of book talk, so I'm constantly reading or going to the bookstore. I went to the bookstore like 2, 3 days ago, actually. Um, I love writing. Obviously, as of right now, that's a hobby because I haven't done anything. I mean, I kind of have, but I also kind of haven't done anything serious with that yet.
Okay.
So, writing. I love spending time with my cat Annie. She's my little
Okay.
bestie.
Awesome.
Um, Yeah, and trying new coffee shops by myself, with my best friend, with my boyfriend, whatever the case is. I'm a
Yeah.
simple girl.
Okay.
So I love those little pleasures of just being able to walk around and try a nice coffee flavor, a different
Yeah.
flavor, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
Little things like that. Window shopping, I guess you could say. Um, I'm not one for actually in-store shopping anymore, and I never really was actually,
Right.
but yeah, just things like that. Things like that
Awesome.
and just being creative. I know I keep saying that, but it's true. Like anything that I can do to like, excuse me, sorry, be creative, whether it's writing ideas down or drawing, coloring, whatever. Like
Yeah.
if I'm home and I can somehow do all of that, I am the happiest girl in the world.
Yeah. That's
So,
amazing. Music you listen to these days. Favorite artist?
oh boy. Um I think for a female, I would say Sabrina Carpenter. She's my current favorite. I listen to her a lot. I actually
Okay.
just went to her concert with my best friend last weekend and it was amazing.
Awesome.
I do listen to a variety of everything, though. Truly, Spanish, rap, pop, hip hop, everything. I listen to everything. So, um, yeah, I could sit here forever listing all artists for you, but yeah,
Yeah.
my you could go through my playlist and be like, well, what the hell are you into? It really is just a little bit of
It's a
everything.
mixture of everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bad Bunny, native Puerto Rican, performing at a Super Bowl. Lots of
Yes,
uproar. He sings in Spanish. What are your
absolutely.
thoughts on him performing in the biggest game in America? Are we
I love
overreacting
that.
here? Yeah,
I love that. It's so much pride. And people always talk about like, oh, Shakira, oh, Jennifer Lopez. And yes,
right,
no, of course, there are other people that have done it before him, but I truly don't think there's been anybody that's other than like Kendrick last year. I don't think anybody has made as big of an impact as
right,
he's making right now. And not just for the world, but obviously specifically for the Puerto Rican culture of it all. Spanish speaking, I don't know if we've ever had
right.
that before. I mean, correct me if
First
I'm wrong.
time.
Fully Spanish. It's not
Yeah,
like bilingual. That's different. J-Lo's done that. Shakira's done that.
right.
Fully Spanish, which is amazing and such a step in the right direction. It's like insane. And I actually love that it's following Kendrick because he had his own messages that he was dropping last
Last
year
year.
that were
Yeah, yeah,
insane in the best way. And
right.
I just know he's going to do it just as good,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's such a prideful thing cuz he really is trying to take such strides to bring awareness to Puerto Rico, the stuff that they go through over there and the culture and all of the things, and it's amazing to be able
yeah,
to watch and be like, "Damn, I love that." And I can only hope to make just as big of an impact or more or even just close
yeah,
one day. Cause it's just, you know, I
yeah.
don't know. It's such a beautiful time to
Right.
be Hispanic, but really any person of color, if you think about it. It's amazing what everybody is doing nowadays. And I love the people that aren't afraid to speak up about it more now. It's like
Push those
good for
boundaries.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah, pushing
yeah.
the boundaries and not being afraid of who's going to say what. I mean, he's got one of the most powerful men in the world stressed out about his performance. His, what is it, 5 minute performance at the
Yeah,
Super Bowl?
yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Crazy.
This man means business
Yeah.
if he's scared of a little old Benito like that.
Top five Puerto Rican food and dishes. What
Oh
say
dear.
you?
Okay. So you always got to have some sort of rice and beans in there.
Okay.
So I'll say arroz con gandules,
Okay.
especially now that the holidays are coming up. Those are big in Hispanic households.
Yeah.
I would say pernil,
Okay.
which is pork ultimately, or pig belly or something like that. I actually don't know the English translation, but it's amazing.
Okay.
Um, God, you can always throw in some tostones, some. I mean, it's not a dish, but some coquito. You can't go wrong with that,
Yeah.
especially now
Coquito's
for
good,
the
especially this time of the
holidays.
year.
Yeah,
Love
man.
it. Love
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Pateles, patelillos. Like the list can really go on and on. And
Yeah.
my mom makes this stuff all throughout the year, but there's something about the holidays that just make them hit so much more.
Yeah.
And
It's
there are
different.
certain things, like some of the things that I just listed, that she will save specifically for the holidays, the
Yeah.
pernil, the arroz con gandules, whatever.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh hell yeah, we're eating good in a few weeks. And I'm excited for that. We're getting our once or twice a year. But
Yeah.
I'm really happy and excited because my boyfriend's mom makes a lot of these things on the regular too. So I get the best of both worlds from the Puerto Rican culture, but also the Mexican culture. So it's great.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving is coming up. What's one thing that you don't care to put on your Thanksgiving menu?
That's a good question. Wow. I want to say cranberries, cranberry sauce, something like that.
Okay.
Like I don't really.
Not a fan.
Yeah, like with all the other flavors going on, it just seems kind of random
Right.
at that point. but also I know how much people love it, so it's just like, maybe I'm not eating it in the right capacity, but I don't know. It's just it's not my
Cranberries.
thing. I
Yeah.
could do without it and feel still satisfied with everything else that's on the table, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Your mom's a great cook. You said that. Dad tries a little bit. How about
Yeah.
yourself?
I try. I do definitely try, and the older I get, the more I obviously want to try more.
Okay.
Um, so in recent years, I've been spending more time with my mom in the kitchen.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's more specific to the holidays, which it shouldn't be, obviously, but like I think because, you're making so many different things during the holidays that you kind of get one ginormous lesson on it all in that
Right.
one sitting.
Yeah.
So I do try, and I've gotten a lot better at things. I need to perfect the Spanish foods. I can do it, but am I doing it well? Is
Yeah.
up for a debate. I do my best. Um, and my mom is always one that she doesn't measure anything. So I'm like, give me the recipe. I will follow the recipe. She's like, but there is
Old
no
school.
recipe.
Old
Yeah.
school. She just
She's
knows
like,
when to stop
there's no
pouring.
recipe, there's
Yeah.
no measurements. I'm like, I need something here. Give me some. She's like, eyeball it. I'm like, if I eyeball it, I'm gonna accidentally put a whole tub of salt in this, and I don't want to do that.
Right. Right.
So yeah, I mean,
That's
I do my
amazing.
best. So,
Yeah.
and I'm definitely learning a lot from her, and
Yeah.
hopefully that continues. So
Yeah. You're bilingual. Which language do you prefer? Spanish or English?
I actually am not fully bilingual, which I'm a little sad about. I
Ah.
understand Spanish better than I speak it,
Okay.
but so I think as I've gotten older, I want to obviously get into Spanish so much more. I listen to the music all the time, and the culture and all that stuff. Like, I know those things, and if you heard me sing in Spanish, it would sound like I'm bilingual, but I'm not. And so, yeah, I really want to learn the language more. I just
Okay.
never really picked up on it. It's one of those things that when I was younger, we would spend every single weekend at my grandmother's house, and I would pick up on it. I had it almost down packed. I would understand
Wow.
everything. I would be able to speak it back, whatever. But then that slowed down. We would just go once a month or once every couple months.
Okay.
And so I lost it. And if you don't practice something, you end up losing it.
You lose
So
it. Yeah.
I kind of lost it, and now I just I want to learn it more. Everything going on with the Spanish community, and I have such a sense of pride that
Yeah.
I want to make this more of a priority now. And not to mention, my mother-in-law is Mexican and fully speaks Spanish, so
Wow.
I gotta learn.
Gotta learn
Yeah,
something.
I have to. I just have to
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
And I'm learning a lot from her too. Obviously, it's Puerto Rican and Mexican Spanish are slightly
Different
different.
dialect, right? Just a little bit, right? A little
Yeah.
different. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Certain terms and stuff that they use will mean like the complete opposite that it does for us. So
You're right.
I'm learning a lot, and yeah, I want to make it a point in 2026 to really study it and get it down packed, because it's important not just for me but for my future kids. I want my future kids to be bilingual
Yeah.
entirely.
Right.
So but yeah, I try, but sometimes I freeze up, and
Yeah.
I'll say it, and I'll say stuff in like the whitest way possible, and then I'll laugh at myself, and I'm like, "Oh, this is embarrassing. I can't." I did it with my best friend last weekend. We went to
Right.
go get dinner, and she didn't she understood what the guy was asking, but like I don't think she was really hearing him. So
Right.
I spoke up in Spanish, and I sounded so disgustingly white. I wanted to walk onto oncoming traffic. But I knew what I needed to say. It was
Right.
just how
Right.
fast I
How
said it
fast
that
the
it
diet.
came
Yeah.
out so like,
Yeah. Forget
oh
about it.
my
What am I
gosh.
doing here? Yeah. That's
Yeah, no,
funny.
absolutely.
Favorite season? What's yours?
It's a really close tie between fall and Christmas. I
Okay.
love fall. The fall foliage, the stuff that
Yeah.
it's like the perfect weather, like not too cold, not too hot,
Right.
sweater weather, and it's comfortable. You can still be outside and do whatever you need to do, and rainy season too. But also I'm obsessed with Christmas. I
Yeah.
thrive in this time of year. So my house is already fully decorated inside and out.
Already.
Yeah.
Man, oh man.
November 1st, we did that.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
And I love that. Everything that comes along with it, the feelings, the movies, the music.
Yeah.
I think it's a nostalgia thing. It's just, I hold on to
Yeah.
a lot of that stuff from when I was younger and try to recreate certain things. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Is that your favorite holiday? Christmas that or
I would say
Thanksgiving?
so. Yeah.
Yeah, those two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the end game? Being a creator, writer, author. What's next for you? Best of both worlds. What's next for you?
Yeah. Ideally, I would like to be a published author.
Okay.
Um, could be one book, could be several. I don't really know yet, but definitely published. And then, God willing, a full-time content creator. I want to be able to do this full time. I want to make a steady income
Hmm.
from this. I want to be able to work for myself and, do all the things that come along with that, working with amazing brands and people and travel and all of the good things. That's what I look forward to the most. And that's what
Right.
I hope that I can accomplish with this
Yeah.
soon in 5 years, whatever the case is.
Yeah, for sure. We talked a little bit last week off air, texting back and forth, and I needed to put this in here in the show. I was going to figure out how to do this.
Yeah.
Emily's making me work now, which is good, pushing the buttons, pushing the limits. You texted this to me, creativity making a difference in the world, in that there's so much darkness, negativity at the moment, that if any or my content can make a difference and become someone's escape for at least a little while, then that in itself means the world to me and pushes me to keep going. That was deep, very thoughtful. Shed some light on that
Yeah.
statement.
Yeah, yeah. I just think that there's so much darkness in the world right now. And
Yeah,
it's sad, it's hard, it's heavy. There's just so much going on and it's real, unfortunately. It just is what it is right now. And as much as I would like to be able to talk about things like that, I would rather not. Not because I'm trying to avoid it or be sneaky about my beliefs or anything, but there's just so much of it already everywhere that adding on to it is only going to make it worse, in my opinion. And so if I can make someone's day, make someone laugh,
yeah,
make someone just disconnect from all of that negativity or just having a bad day. It doesn't even have to be in the world, just personally with a try on haul or trying a coffee flavor or whatever the case is. That
right.
means the world to me because in 2020, that's what I needed. I needed to
Yeah,
not focus on COVID and all of the heartbreaking stuff going on.
yeah,
And obviously, you can't completely disconnect because it is real life. It is what it is. It's happening whether we like it or not. You don't always need to be consuming it. That's not healthy either.
right.
And so, if I can be an escape for someone for a minute, or if they, binge watch my videos or whatever the case is, and I am able to be that comfort person for them, they're realistic, fun content creator that also relates.
Yeah,
I would love that. And I have my handful of people that do the same. Every night I look up my favorite 4 or 5 creators, whatever, these specific people that I
right.
enjoy their content, whatever it may be, and I just binge watch their videos.
Yeah,
And after a long day, I look forward to it because it allows me to disconnect kind of from work, from the day to day, if I had a shitty day, whatever the case is.
yeah,
And for that small period of time, it makes me feel better. And it makes me feel like there's more out there. It doesn't always have to be this heavy. God willing, it won't always be this heavy.
yeah,
And, there are other things to look forward to. As sad and as hard as life is right now, there's also so much beauty in it. And
yeah,
not enough people focus on that, which is, I mean, it is what it is because, some
yeah,
people are living through these hard times and they have no choice. But at the same time, there is so much that this life has to offer that's also positive,
yeah,
that's also happy, and things to look forward to that I don't know, I just wanna try being that for people. And it's not always gonna be like that. I don't always wanna be all sunshine and daisies on my content either. I wanna be able
Right.
to be open and vulnerable with the hard times too, but I also don't wanna dwell on that because a lot of times those are temporary anyway.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
whether it's a day or a couple weeks, whatever. It's a lot of times it is temporary. And it sucks. You don't want to be going through it, but you got to have the good with the bad and vice versa. It's just life.
Yeah.
And hopefully, we'll all come out of this in a year, 2 years, whatever the case is, better people and doing so many other things that are more productive, positive, shedding light in the world. And we'll be able to put this all behind us one day.
Yeah. Well
You know?
said. I don't know if I can follow up with that. I was like thinking of a question to action. I'm like, that was
Sorry.
pretty good. You touched a little bit on about your anxiety.
Yeah.
How do you cope with that? And any advice for anybody out there going through it or going through what you're going through?
Yeah.
And bullying also in the world too, right?
Yeah, yeah. So my anxiety, I think personally is more health anxiety. And
Okay.
I think that I fixate, not all the time, but I tend to fixate on the scary aspects myself, which ties into my answer a little while ago, why we
Yeah.
need more positivity in the world and
Yeah.
whatnot.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, just kind of like, because the essence of anxiety is really just fixating on the negativity, unfortunately. You get a
Okay.
feeling in your chest and you're like, oh my God, I'm dying, I'm having a heart attack, whatever the case is. And you're
Right.
just focusing on that
On that.
instead of
Yeah.
focusing on the fact that you are breathing, you are okay, you're safe, you're healthy, whatever the case is. And so, personally, for me, finding things to help cope, like meditation, really does help.
Yeah.
And journaling any like sad, scary, heavy feelings or whatever the case is, that's helped a lot too. So I would recommend things like that. And if you're not used to it, it can be hard
Yeah.
to just sit still for however long with meditation and whatever. And obviously, I agree with that because it was hard in the beginning, but you can start out. They have guided meditations on YouTube or wherever. I do a 5-minute meditation every single day. It
Wow.
really is just 5 minutes long. I do it
Right.
at the end of the night, but you could do it first thing in the morning to start your day off like that, calm, breathing, exercises, whatever.
Right.
You can journal. I highly recommend journaling. I don't do it nearly as much as I probably should, but that helps too. I can't tell you. Sometimes I'll sit down and I'm like, I don't even know what I'm going to write. And by the end of it, I've written like 6 pages worth of stuff that, like,
Yeah.
just recapping, getting everything out, and you really do feel so much better. And then just kind of doing the inner work for yourself. What
Yeah.
can you do to make yourself be or feel better? If it's health anxiety like me, go get a checkup.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, you're fine, which
Right.
is an amazing thing. And if you're not, it could be scary, but you rather nip it in the butt than sitting on it and waiting.
Right.
And I personally I deal with that because I don't have anything wrong, but just if I feel something, I'm like, oh my God, I'm
Yeah.
dying. This is it. Like I'm that like, oh God, like just worst case
Yeah.
scenario, which should not be the case, but it is. And I think that's courtesy of COVID, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, just doing the work. Am I eating well? Am I sleeping well? I've done all my appointments, all of my tests. Thankfully, I've come back and just kind of reminding myself of things
Yeah.
like that. You're
Okay.
healthy, you're safe, you're okay. And sometimes really telling yourself that, at least for me personally, it does make me feel better.
Right.
Um,
Right.
because the more you tell yourself something, the more you're going to end up believing it.
Right.
And that goes both ways, positive and negative.
For sure.
So that's something that I would recommend. It's always easier said than done, but try and think and tell yourself positive things. If I'm on the verge of an anxiety attack, I tell myself internally, you're okay. This is
Okay.
okay. You felt this before. It sucks, it is scary, but just breathe. You're here, mom and dad are here, everyone is alive and well, healthy, whatever. Those little reminders really end up calming your nervous system,
Yeah.
along with obviously the breathing exercises and whatever it else you end up doing that works for you. The
Right.
positive internal talk helps a lot too, I found.
For
Um,
sure.
yeah.
Well said. Well said. Where do you see yourself in 15, 20 years from now manifesting? What will Emily be doing?
Yeah. Um, I'm going to make a bold statement and say that I will be a published author. I
Okay.
will be a full-time paid content creator.
Okay.
Um, I'll probably be married, maybe
Okay.
1 or 2 kids. I go
Okay.
back and forth about that because of the state of the world right now, but, in a perfect world, I would want that. And, as cliche as it is, maybe the white picket fence, all those
Yeah.
little things,
Yeah.
comfortable living, traveling with my significant other, potentially with our family,
Yeah.
potentially with my parents, my brother, whatever the case is. Because, I mean, one thing about me is that if I have it, I want to be able to give it to you as well. And
Right.
so if I can provide that for them too, then I would love to do that. I don't know if anything would make me happier than providing that not just for us and our future family, but also our families, our immediate families now.
Right.
So yeah, I've got a lot of goals, a lot of dreams, and I want to say I hope I'm going to make them happen, but also I know how I am as a person, and I never want to come off as cocky or anything like that because
For sure.
I really am not. But one thing about me is that if I set my mind to it, even if it takes 5, 10 years, I will usually make it happen.
Get it done eventually.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah, it's almost like there's no other option,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Um, and that's just where I'm at right now.
That's awesome. Any shout outs today? Plug your social media for us. How can we follow you, right? The big three: Facebook, IG, TikTok.
Yeah. Well, shout out to my parents who I believe are listening, my brother, anyone else that's listening from when I posted about this. Shout out
Yeah.
to you for having me
Thank you.
here. So thank you. Thank you
Appreciate
for having me on, asking me all these questions. Some I've
that.
thought about, some I haven't thought about. Um, yeah, and you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. It's all mostly the same. Emily C. Hernandez. Instagram is a little different. My handle is life with 3 underscores
Yeah.
Emily. TikTok is Emily C. Hernandez.
Okay.
Facebook and YouTube are Emily C. Hernandez, and I
Okay.
think that's it.
That's
And look out
amazing.
for my name if I end up publishing a book too.
For
Probably
sure. I'll be
someday.
definitely buying that. I want to be
Yeah.
invited to the wedding at some
Oh,
point down the
absolutely.
road. Look out for me.
Absolutely.
You have my number, you have
Yes.
my everything. So you let
Yes.
me know. Thoughts on your first podcast, right? You're a little nervous coming into this. I said it was
I
going to be totally
was.
fine. You were a genuinely a pro's pro today.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I was nervous. I'm not really big on talking about myself like this,
Right.
so it was kind of good.
Right.
And I guess going hand in hand with the manifestation of it all, I told myself
Yeah.
that this is good practice for in the
Yeah.
future.
You
When
never
and
know.
if I start doing other interviews and all that, I'll be able to say that Kenford was my first. It'll be fun to be able to look back on and
Yeah.
see how much, if any, growth there's been, and it'll be fun to be able to just reference. So, yeah,
Yeah.
it was good. It was really good. Thank you
Sure.
again for having me and all the amazing questions.
For sure. Hey, this is a lot of fun. Wish you everything, success, your
Thank you.
family, happy holidays, Christmas,
Yes,
Thanksgiving, the
you
whole
as
nine.
well.
Wish you nothing but the best, and you're gonna get there. Like you
I
said, it might
appreciate
not be
that.
today, tomorrow, whenever, but you'll eventually get there.
I
And
appreciate that. Thank you.
wish you the best. Tons of fun. Thanks for coming on the program today. She's
Yeah.
Emily. I'm Kenford. We are out. Happy Veterans Day,
Happy
everybody.
Veterans Day. Bye.